Hello, I'm Henry R. Mockingbird, aka Ramsey Alley.
And I'm Gary.
And welcome to 20th Century Reviews. Now, I know I keep saying I'm going to review Casablanca, but I'm not sure if I'm ready to review something that big and that iconic. So instead, I'm going to review a silent film, The Thief of Baghdad, starring Douglas Fairbanks. Who is Douglas Fairbanks, you're probably wondering? Well, I'm going to have to explain. Douglas Fairbanks was a big star in the silent era. He was also the first to play Zorro, and he also played one of the Three Musketeers in the 1921 Musketeer film. He even got an Oscar, an honorary Oscar, given to his son in 1939. To give you an idea, Douglas Fairbanks is like Clark Gable and Errol Flynn all rolled into one. So let's stop wasting time and get to the review. The film is about a common thief played by Douglas Fairbanks, who falls in love with the princess. Posing as a prince, he goes into the palace, and she ends up falling in love with him, as a matter of fact. But she agreed that whoever finds her the most rarest treasure gets her hand in marriage. Now the thief is now in a competition to find the rarest treasure before the seventh moon, where he has to fight some monsters and crap and to win the hand of the princess. How does this end? What's next? You'll have to find out for yourself. I think it's a pretty good silent film. Now seeing it twice, actually. I think it's really spectacular. Time being at AFI. First, let's talk about the thief, who's the classic hero who's a bad guy, but he's not a bad person, who tries to win the hand of the princess, but ends up having feelings and cares about her. Doug, would you mind looking at her in a less rapey way, please? First, there's the love interest, who's really beautiful, a picture of beauty. They even kiss on screen with nobody there. Although this may not be like much today, but in 1924, this was considered scandalous. And hero is not without the villain. The villain looks sinister, very sinister, and creepy. He makes my blood chill. It's like the devil, like looking right into your soul.
Seriously, does he even have skin on, or is he a living skeleton? And I wonder if there were chiropractors in those days, because after carrying that fat guy, they must need an adjustment.
Do you mind, Gary? Anyways, let's continue.
Let's talk about the scenery. Now, the scenery really puts you in a fantasy-like world. Speaking of fantasy, I wonder if Ray Harryhausen was a fan of this. And there's both Moroccan people and Asian people. Really, that's really an Asian girl playing the slave girl. An Asian actress, as a matter of fact. Anna May Wong is her name, and she really is Asian. Let's talk about the special effects. In one scene, the thief fights a dragon. Actually, the dragon is actually a crocodile dressed like a dragon, photographically blown up to giant size. Most people think of this effect, which is also used in The Lost World, and made in 1960, and also used in the movie Journey to the Center of the Earth. Most people think of this effect as cheap and cruelty to animals. But to be fair, it looks a whole lot more realistic than CGI does. And the gore effects are also pretty good. In one scene, the thief slices open the dragon's neck and blood comes pouring out. Although it may not be as gory as something like Evil Dead, but in 1924, it was considered pretty gory. Another gory highlight is when Douglas Fairbanks fights a spider. He cuts open a spider and blood comes gushing right out. I wonder if the creators of Godzilla vs. Mechagodzilla were fans of the spider gore of this movie. And the spider face kind of reminds me of the tree from The Wizard of Oz. Another effect is the Pegasus, which is pretty impressive. How did they do that without a green screen? And again, I wonder if Ray Harryhausen was a fan of this. Another scene is when an Asian sailorman falls dead and black. Kind of a racist effect. Another good effect is when Douglas Fairbanks and the princess go riding on a magic carpet. Pretty amazing effect, and I still don't know how they did it. To quote Darth Vader on this one,
impressive. Most impressive.
Another effect is a giant bat that Douglas Fairbanks fights, which the bat kind of looks like a bad version of Mickey Mouse. Anyways, the bat is actually a marionette, which you never really see the strings on the marionette, which is a good thing. Although that could be because it's in black and white. Another effect is the spider, which is also a marionette puppet.
I talked about most of the ups of the film, but what are the downs of the film? Well, there is a couple.
One flaw this film has is that it drags a lot in some places. The film feels like it should have been a lot shorter. If you're going to watch this, you're going to need a large entertainment appetite, because it's like in the 3-hour department. It felt like this film could have been edited. And the film takes a while to get going, with the thief not going on his mission until near the halfway point. Another flaw this film has is that Douglas Fairbanks spends almost the entire movie completely shirtless. Although this may not be a flaw to you if you have a shirtless man fetish, Another flaw this film has is that not one actor doesn't overact, but I'm going to have to blame that on the era the film was made in.
Say about this film. Well, it's going to take 2 months before we come back. Seriously, because I have to finish my project, and I got 2 comparison videos in June. But me and Gary will be back in July to start 80s Marathon in commemoration of the 3rd season of Stranger Things. Well, so long.
I give the film 5 stars. Push subscribe and push like, and don't forget to leave comment down below.